Hello and welcome to the show today. My name is Milosh. I am from Soviet Union. I'm joined today by Lady Vixen. How are you today, Lady Vixen? You don't have to do an accent.
We both know how bad I am at accents, so I'll leave the accents to you.
This is how I talk.
That's true. I am sorry. I didn't mean to
I am
insinuate
Milosh.
that you were doing a voice right now.
Milosh talks like this because he's from Soviet Union.
What are you working on there, Milosh? Did I say that right?
Milosh.
Milosh. Okay.
Yes. I'm working on drawing of lady,
Yeah?
woman. Have you ever heard of a woman before?
Once or twice I think I've heard of woman.
What are your thoughts on women?
Women can be horrible, horrible beings sometimes. If we're being honest.
Honesty is good policy, no?
Yes. The question is, what do you think of women, Milosh?
I like a fun woman.
Good answer. So, is this woman anybody in particular that you are drawing, Milosh?
She is a fictional person.
Yes. Is this a fictional person from your world of imagination?
Yes, I am making her up as I go along.
Nice. Now, Milosh, does this character that you're drawing, do you have a backstory for them?
No, just drawing. Just drawing. Nothing special.
So, Milosh, you say you are from the Soviet Union, is that correct?
Yes, Soviet Union.
Do you still live there, or where are you living these days?
The Soviet Union does not exist anymore.
Well, where it used to exist?
No, I do not live in the Soviet Union anymore. Because it does not exist, nor do I live where it used to exist. Instead, I live here. There we are now.
Here is a good place to be, rather than there. If I wasn't here, would I be there?
I suppose. Well, thank you for joining us today, Milosh. That was a great interview, from Lady Vixen. Appreciate that in-depth interview from Lady Vixen with Milosh. Well, Lady Vixen, have you watched anything fun lately?
I watched started watching Sound of Music earlier today.
The Sound of Music, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Are the hills alive with the Sound of Music, would you say?
I believe so, yes. I believe they are alive the last time I checked.
What do you like about the Sound of Music, Lady Vixen? The movie, not just like the sound of
The Sound of Music. What about the Sound of Silence?
Sound of Silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
No, the Sound of Music. Well, obviously the music is great.
Obviously.
Oh, welcome back, Milosh. Yes, I love the music. I like the story. There's lots of different aspects. The setting, I don't know where I don't remember where it's actually filmed, but wherever it's filmed.
In Austria and Germany.
Yeah, gorgeous scenery and backdrops, especially watching it today. I don't know if that digital version or whatever is higher quality, but it seemed to be popping.
Yes, popping, as you see. It did look good. I agree. It's one of my favorite films, actually.
Yeah?
I once made a top, 25 list of favorite films, but I've lost it. That was on there.
Why does it make your top 25?
Why does it make my top 25?
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography is good. Acting is good. Songs are good. That's probably why. Director Robert Wise was a good journeyman director. He directed a movie called Star Trek the Motion Picture. Let's get on. He also directed Michael Bay's favorite film. Do you know what Michael Bay? You know who Michael Bay is, of course.
Yes. I
Who is it?
believe so. He did the Transformers.
Did do Transformers. Do you know what his favorite movie is?
What?
His favorite movie is...
I'm guessing you've told me this before.
I probably have. I want you to try to guess, though.
I have no idea. Can you give me some options? Or a genre that I should be looking at?
Nah, I'll give it away.
I'll give it away.
Let me just tell you.
Yeah, how about that?
It's The West Side Story.
Would not have guessed that.
Would not have guessed that, huh? Yeah. It's his favorite movie.
If you had said musicals, would I have guessed? I eventually might have guessed it, but I don't know that that would have been my first guess.
No?
I probably would have been like, musicals? Why can't I think of any other musicals right now other than Sound of Music? And maybe Fiddler on the Roof, because I was thinking about that one earlier today.
Tradition! Tradition! If I was a rich man, all day long I'd biddy biddy bum.
If I were a wealthy
man.
You wouldn't have to work hard?
I wouldn't have to work hard.
For your viewing pleasure tonight, Fiddler on the Roof.
As performed by Milosh.
Alright, Milosh, take it away.
I was a rich man. Da, 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 da.
That's probably harder to do.
Doing an accent while singing? What do you think of this drawing so far, Lady Vixen?
I like it. I like the hair.
Thank you. I've been trying to get better at drawing hair.
I think you are succeeding.
If I was a rich man.
Let's see here. So, back to your original question. What else have I watched?
Yeah, what else have you been watching?
I watched...
Little baby shows?
Yeah, lots of little baby shows. Need to find a good baby show that's not annoying.
It's not annoying. That's the key. One that, like... the ones that most captivate babies are... are also the most annoying sometimes. The ones that like grab their attention and it pisses me off because like they're so bad. Like it's like the ones with the worst animation and the worst just garbage are the ones that babies just love to watch.
Then again, I'm not really supposed to be watching TV anyways, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. In order
for baby to not annoy, you have to watch show. You have to watch show for people to not annoy you, to be able to do work. What do you think of superhero women who have boob windows?
Boob windows are interesting.
Yes, a boob window it is called. It is a technical term. It's a technical term. That was a weird little voice appeared on the show. Sounded like me. Milos from Soviet Union. I'm just typing, don't worry. Alright. Do you think better design would be to put logo there or boob window? Have you ever seen Power Girl's boob window? Do you know who Power Girl is?
No.
Originally she was a version of Supergirl. Later she got different origin when they merged all of the universes, all of the different worlds in, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Here she is with her infamous boob window. There is another one. Let us see. What do you think?
They're kind of weird.
I don't understand. Why does it exist, this boob window?
Sexual attraction, I think.
Suppose you're right.
Now, interesting. I was looking at earlier that Milos, you happen to have on the screen Common America.
Where?
Earlier today.
Did I really?
For one of these days. And
all the days blend together for you.
I had noticed that she has a boob window.
She does.
Hers is interesting though because it forms a star.
It does. So it is also her logo, unlike Power Girl who only has boob window. Common America, she puts in her design into the boob window.
I guess that backs with the story that she's a good seamstress.
I know.
And designer.
If only Common America was close at hand. But I believe I may have... Oh, thank God. I am lazy and did not put it away. Oh, but no, the image is going to be reflective. Why do they have to put high gloss? It's hard to see cover. Oh, look at that. Horrible. Finally saw it on the street. Let us find the inside. Where are you, Common America? Where is your outfit? There you go. She is very ample. Is she? What do you think of her design?
It's, like I said, if you're going to have a boob window, it's actually not a bad design.
I worry about the structural integrity of this portion.
It's super powered.
Hopefully it is made of strong material. If this portion were to be cut, an unfortunate accident would take place. No?
That is true.
She might reveal more than she was intending. Spoilers at the end of the book. Yes, that is Common America. What did you think of Common America?
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it.
What aspects of it were enjoyable?
I like just the premise of her character.
The premise of her character. Can you describe her character for me?
Just kind of, in many ways, a normal girl.
That is rare in fiction?
Yes. Just a normal girl with powers.
Would you describe her as unkind?
No. She's very kind. Seems like she has a sweet personality. And caring. She has her morals that she wants to stick to. I also like the coloring that was done.
Oh, the coloring.
The bright colors and...
Yes, Tim Lim did all the artwork on it. Did you know that? He did all of it himself.
What did Mark Pellegrini write it?
Yes, Mark Pellegrini is the writer. They design it together, come up with it together, and then Mark Pellegrini writes it. And Tim Lim draws it. Oh, hello, General Grudge. Ah, Matthew D. Reese, long time no talk. Just drawing a character here. She has no name yet. Just generic superhero lady. So what else did you like about Common America? You liked the character, got that part.
Have to refresh my memory.
Refresh your memory. Refresh that memory.
Well, like you've talked about before, and I agree with the idea of be who you are because that's what you like to do.
Mm-hmm. Which is an appropriate thing. I mean, the message of it is to be... It's okay to be traditionally feminine.
Yes.
I would say.
Yes, which is a nice thing to hear, because you don't hear that a lot these days.
Matthew D. Reese wants to know if you are Russian. Lady Vixen.
No.
Lady Vixen is terrible at accents. All of her accents sound the same, which is not like any accent that exists on Earth.
It's pretty bad. I thought he was asking about your comic. Your character.
Oh, my character, yes. Commander Comrade. Oh, looks like you are correct, Lady Vixen. Silly me. Commander Conrad is her name. A Russian woman from Soviet Union. Caught in time vortex. Transported to a modern day when the Soviet Union does not exist. She wants to promote the ideals of communism to the world. Is this that new Halo game? Indeed it is. It is the new Halo 2 game. Does any of you in the audience, do you know the story of why Flyfox Pro says, is this that new Halo 2 game? Anybody know it? Other than Lady Vixen, she knows the story. Anybody else heard me tell it? If not, I will tell the story as I heard it from Flyfox Pro. Because I am Milosh.
Now, Milosh, you say you're from the Soviet Union.
The Soviet Union, yes, that is correct.
So, are you a time traveler too, or?
I told you. The Soviet Union does not exist anymore.
I know. So if it doesn't exist, how are you from there?
That is not important to my backstory. Not important to the story that I'm telling. So anyways, people are taking too long to answer, or they just don't know, so they are not saying, yes, I know that story. So I will tell it. There was once a boomer, and the boomer was at a party for young people. My brother, well, Fly Fox Pro's brother was there at the party. And they were playing a game, a video game on the television. The boomer walked into the room. The boomer saw the game on the television and he asked, "Is this that new Halo 2 game?" But alas, it was not Halo 2 on the television. Instead, it was Mario Party. Yes, the boomer could not tell the difference between Mario Party and Halo 2. And so forever I will make fun of this boomer. Because he treated me poorly at times. So he is immortalized in my joke about boomers. For all time. As a nincompoop. Out of touch boomer, haha. Let's all laugh at the boomer. It only makes me laugh, this joke. And maybe my brother, but nobody else knows the reference. And it is not a funny inside joke for them. But I will continue to say it because it is hilarious to me. Yes, Commander Comrade. Let's make her more feminine. How about... what is a word for woman? That is not woman. How about Miss Communism? From Russia, Soviet Union style. Alright, so Lady Vixen, you've been watching children's television. You've been watching The Sound of Music. We talked about Common America. Are you excited to read the Trump book that Tim Lim made?
I did not know that
it's
we
called
did this.
The Adventures of Walmite. It's sort of like an All Might. Or you saw it, the All Might version of Trump. I showed it to you, didn't I?
I don't remember this. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I don't remember this.
Does that strike your fancy? Trump as All Might from My Hero Academia?
I don't know. It sounds interesting.
And Pence is like the Deku character.
That sounds really interesting. I don't know. We'll see what I think of it when we get it, apparently.
Did you read this one?
No.
Are you going to?
Probably at some point in time.
Did you read Titan Mouse of Might?
Not yet.
We could. Did you know we could read it if we wanted to?
I did know that we could read it.
I'm not reading it till I get the physical version now, but we have the digital.
I am super excited for Titan Mouse of Might.
Should I show them what I drew earlier? Boom. I copied an error. I mean, I didn't copy it, it's not like I traced it, but I've been doing these drawings because I want to draw like Aaron Lopresti when I grow up.
That's good.
And here's the one I did. Yeah. They're not bad. I mean, they're no Aaron Lopresti drawings, but... And of course, Stephen Starlight. Alright. There's Miss Communism from the Soviet Union. What do you think of Packin's Land? Have you read that?
I have
by
read
Gary
that.
Shipman? What are your thoughts on that?
I enjoyed it. I think that Gary Shipman, is a good writer.
He's a good writer. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you say that?
Just his story, his plot lines that he had going on, and it's unique.
Ray Thulu says that the girl with the knife was hot.
She was pretty attractive.
Matthew D. Reese is sharing something. Says, The Adventures of Seth and Murphy. I said Murphy and Seth. It's fine. Now turn around. One copy of Halo 2. That will be $53.24. Thank you for Halo 2. Thank you for Halo 2. Out of $54, thank you for Halo 2. Your change is $1.26. Thank you for Halo 2. Thank you, and come again. Thank you for Halo 2. You can always count on Matthew D. Reese to know obscure webcomics.
What did you think? You finally finished Packin's Land, right?
Yes, I did.
What did you think of it?
I liked the artwork a lot. It's interesting. Sometimes I think I read too much into Gary's artwork, or he's just like a super genius. Either I read it too much into it, or he's a super genius. There's no gray area. But there's times when I think he deliberately does something, and then I wonder, like, did he really deliberately do this? But I don't want to ask him, because I don't want my illusion of the mastery of Gary Shipman to be ruined. So I just continue to go along with my fantasy of version that Gary Shipman's like a super genius when it comes to artwork. So that's the issue with artwork sometimes, is often there's unintended things that happen, and so readers or viewers will recognize that themes and things that are being displayed and pieces of art that seem to go along with what is being discussed in the comic. For instance, there's a scene late in the book where two of the animal characters are fighting. And as they fight, they appear different than when they're just chilling, talking to everybody else. Seems to me that they're changing over time as they're fighting. They're becoming more bestial, less like themselves. Now, it could be that just Gary's art was inconsistent, but I choose to believe that he's a super genius who did it on purpose to convey the message that they were being bestial. And they were giving into a primal rage. But I dare not ask Gary, because then my illusion will be shattered if he says, no, dude, that was just... I just drew it. I didn't give any of that thought to it. Oh, Matthew D. Reese says, The Adventures of Seth and Murphy was a buddy gamer comic that my pal Chris Lawton did before Forces. Chris dropped it because he felt it was too much of a penny arcade clown, but I still think it was hilarious. I incorporated those characters into Forces in the last story, Old SK001. And of course, it's supposed to read old school. Oops, Mr. Bernie. Oh well. There was some moments of Packin's Land that really spoke to me as I read through it. That spoke to me on a personal level of things I was going through, things I was trying to deal with at the time I read it, that I thought was really neat.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically, but I remember there were certain lines or things that were said that were really good. What did you think of the story, the overall arching story and concept?
I like the idea of sort of, as they call them, sometimes cupboard fantasies or second world fantasies like that, where you have a character going into a fantastical world. I do think it drug out a little bit too long for the length of it. I would have expected a little bit more development.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of character moments, and there's definitely development in it, but the plot, I feel like, was just about to get underway by the time you got to the end of it. Shabby! Yes, it is late at night here. Welcome, Shabby. Shabby is, of course, the artist of Vestry. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of it, yes. Are we backing that or something?
Yeah, it's like a couple bucks. Super cheap.
I don't always know what we end up backing.
It's true. I try to tell her sometimes, but then sometimes she's not around, and I just have to make a decision. Boom, Miss Communism. What do you think of her? Lady Vixen.
I like it.
Did you know that Lord Gord character I used the other day, Reese is going to use it?
Yes, I did hear that. I think I saw something about that in some stream or another.
Yes, Lord Gord. Matthew D. Reese says she has shiny pants. Yes, she does. She has shiny pants. Need to wash these nibs. Yeah, so I've had these nibs for a while, and then I finally got this holder for them, so I've been trying to use it. I actually like it better than these microns so far. Microns definitely have their uses, but I want to get some different kinds of nibs, some ones that'll make thicker lines. We'll see.
You know who to talk to.
I do. Boom. Miss Communism. She wants to extol the virtues of communism around the world.
So is she a villain then?
No, she's the hero. Communism's so great. It always works perfectly, no matter where it's implemented. All right, Matthew D. Reese, go to sleep. You crazy man, you. Have you watched anything else recently, Lady Vixen?
I watched Milo and Otis.
Milo and Otis. How was that?
It's the Adventures of Milo and Otis, possibly.
It's just called Milo and Otis. No one calls it the real name.
It was
as good as you remembered it as a child.
I still enjoyed it for what it was.
You still enjoyed it for what it was. Oh, that's like, oh, she's pretty in her own way. Oh, that's a good drawing for you.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say it was bad. I like it. We'll put it this way.
It's very simple.
It is. It's very simple, but I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that.
So I haven't seen it since I was a very young child. And so I did not watch it while you were watching it today. I had my headphones on. I was watching some video or some such thing. And I purposely tried to avoid watching it.
It's an interesting concept. Basically filming animals.
Crafting a story around it.
Yeah. And having a
narrator.
Yeah. Would this be considered a low budget? Because you
I'm sure it did not cost that much money.
You probably have to work a lot and takes time in finding the right animals and getting the animals
any humans
that
appear in it at all?
No, there's no humans in it. It's just animals.
Yeah, it's probably very inexpensive. There's you've of course seen Homeward Bound.
Yes.
You know, Homeward Bound is I don't know if you call it a real remake, but
The Incredible Journey.
Yeah, The Incredible Journey is a film that has similar dogs and a cat and they're trying to get to their master, but it's like they don't talk, and there's narrator, and it's the master's like not children, it's a middle-aged dude, and yeah, it's kind of cool, but it's very different from Homeward Bound in that way. But it's similar to Milo and Otis in that there's just a narrator talking, I think. Been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what we watched recently? Greyfriars Bobby.
Yes.
So Greyfriars Bobby is a Disney film about a dog in Greyfriar in England.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog is sort of this, the way that you find out about these other characters in Greyfriar. Like, the story's not really about the dog. He's sort of the MacGuffin. He's the reason why these characters interact and why you find out about these different characters and their motivations and everything.
The development of the characters and how the characters interact with each other.
Yes. And then you get to find out about all these characters. And it actually works. I don't like a lot of animal movies. They get sappy or dumb. But this one was actually pretty well done. It was kind of low key. And then the cinematography was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those Disney movies, like, they're hit and miss when it comes to the cinematography or how they look, whether or not they're gonna look good. Like, and they're gonna be the same people working on one film, and it looks sort of flat and bland and lame. And then they can work on another one where it's absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. How would you compare that to, what was the one about the dog? Dog's Life or something? The fighting, the dog, the...
Oh, what's that called? Is it a dog's life?
Life of a Dog, or...
No.
Tale of a Dog. It was something very simple like that.
I don't remember. That bothers me now because I like that. So there's this movie about this, what is it, like a bull terrier, I think? And he sort of talks, and then he starts out as just a poor dog on the street, and then he becomes like a dog fighting. He fights other dogs. And then he goes and he lives at a rich guy's house and he becomes a show dog. It's pretty cool. That's a good one.
That's another kind of where you have just narration, sort of dialogue over.
Yeah. But you at least hear the other like humans talk and stuff. So how would I compare that to Greyfriars Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
They're very different.
They are.
One is more about the human characters, and that one's more about the dog. Shabby brings up a great movie featuring animals. Garfield: Tale of Two Kitties. What are your thoughts on that?
I have not seen it.
Did you see any of the Garfield movies with Bill Murray? That's the second one.
Well, actually, maybe did I see it? I have seen a Garfield movie, at least. That's the newer as in.
Newer basically means after we were not children anymore.
Yes. Yes, I think I did watch one. I watched it in some place weird, like on a school trip on a bus, or I don't know. Yes, I've seen one. one of them ate Garfield.
So, they must have left a lasting impression on you
yes.
for you to barely remember that you watched it.
Super lasting. I remember it being like a Garfield.
Interesting.
I was like, oh, this is Garfield.
Was it weird for it not to be Lorenzo Music voicing Garfield?
Yes. That I do remember.
That you do remember. Trivia that just about everybody on the internet knows. You ever heard of the Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Did you know that Bill Murray was in that?
Yes.
He played a character named Peter Venkman.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a cartoon adaptation called The Real Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why it was called The Real Ghostbusters?
No.
Because Funimation had... Not Funimation, different company. Blinking on it. Anyways, not Funimation. Anyways, a company had made a show called Ghostbusters, and then Columbia negotiated for the rights to call it the movie Ghostbusters. And then that company that made the first Ghostbusters property, they made a cartoon called Ghostbusters right at that time. So then Columbia was like, let's make the real Ghostbusters. Anyways, so the character that played Peter Venkman on the show, the actor,
was
Lorenzo Music that played Garfield. And then, of course, later on, Bill Murray played Garfield, the character that Lorenzo Music made, was famous for playing. Who's your favorite voice actor?
I don't know.
You don't know. You don't know.
I seem to think, though, that recently there was actually somebody that I said that is a great voice actor. But I don't remember what or who we're talking about.
Shabby says, hard to beat Mark Hamill or Kevin Conroy. Do you know who they play famously together as a duo?
No.
Do you know who Mark Hamill is?
Yes.
Who's Mark Hamill?
Star Wars.
What character does he play in Star Wars?
Luke.
Luke, that's right. You've seen this property. It's called Batman the Animated Series.
Oh.
Mark Hamill voices the Joker. And Kevin Conroy is Batman.
Batman, yes.
Yeah, they're great. Mark Hamill's definitely up there. I'd say in the top 5 of probably of voice actors for me. He's really good. He just does a really good job, obviously. Jim Cummings is up there, who plays Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and all kinds of characters. Any other names you know?
Hal Smith.
Hal Smith, he's a great one. I like him a lot. Played Otis on Andy Griffith's show, and he played Owl on Winnie the Pooh, and he played Mr. Whitaker on Adventures in Odyssey. Who else? Rob Paulson is good. If you go back in the day, you have people like Paul Frees. You've heard his voice. But you don't know where you've heard it, huh?
Nope. I think I'm saying this right, but Shabby says Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk is good. King Candy! He also says this, I'm a leaf on the wind. You've seen the movie Serenity? He's Wash.
Oh. That was so horrible.
He's also in
You set me
A
up
Knight's
for that.
Tale.
That is true.
So Lady Vixen had never seen Firefly or Serenity, so I had her watch through all of Firefly, and then while she was watching, I'd be like, "Oh, I purposely got her to identify with the married characters on the show so that she would really like those characters the best. To be like, oh, isn't it nice that they're married and they love each other? And then all the while I knew, I was setting her up for the moment in the movie. And then it happened, and she was devastated. I did it on purpose. Alan Tudyk is good, though. So you know he's in A Knight's Tale. He plays the...
Yeah, he's one of the...
He's the one that says fonging.
Yes, I know exactly who he is.
I will fong you. Knight's Tale is a really great movie.
It is. When I was in college, I took an elective class that was like the history of clothing or something.
Uh-huh.
It's actually kind of interesting class, but one of our projects that we had to do was we had to watch a period movie or something and analyze and discuss the clothing. And I chose A Knight's Tale.
Because the costume design in that is amazing. Like, I wanted so many of the coats in that and the clothes. Like, I was like, man, I would dress like that every day. Every day.
Yes, Shabby, the history of clothing.
The history of clothing. That's college for you. American universities.
I think that's what it was.
Was it a whole class?
Yeah.
American universities.
They went through the different time periods and how things changed, and
she could have been finding the cure for cancer. Instead, she studied clothing.
It was an elective, but for I needed to check off a certain box of, cultural understanding or something along those lines. I was like, this could be
I took
interesting.
medieval history for that credit. Next class, the political importance of a donut. I mean, you were an arts major of sorts, right?
Yes, that is true.
And what was your major? You can't remember. Is that memorable, huh? That useful.
Musical education and violin performance.
Oh, so you played the violin?
Yes, I played that violin.
Wow.
Some people call it a fiddle.
Impressive. So you have 2 bachelor's degrees?
Yep.
Man, you must be super smart. I only have an associate's degree, so it must be lame. Art, what a useless skill. Exactly, Shabby. Like, what kind of person would waste their time doing something like drawing or playing music? Especially drawing. What a waste. The most, I don't know, silly, useless classes I took. I don't know about that, but they were poetry. I took poetry in college. That was a lot of fun. And I'd just write some crazy thing, and then the teacher would think it was brilliant, and I would see how far I could go with it. Like, one time, I wrote on the board in the class, I wrote, if we could think, we would have thunk already. And then in between, I wrote it like one word, like I do if, we, and then in between I would put like an asterisk, or like an at symbol, in between all these words. And the teacher loved it. He thought it was brilliant. And he was like, oh man, you're the only person thinking outside the box. And I was really just trying to see how far I could go with like doing crazy stuff. I felt kind of guilty about it because he's a really, really nice guy.
Is that the one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one. He's actually a really good teacher. Oh, I also took screenwriting. Did you know I took a screenwriting class?
I did know that.
Yeah, I took a screenwriting class. That was pretty useless. I'll never use that. I mean, it did teach me like story structure and how to develop plots and things. And that was good. That's useful. And we did watch a bunch of movies in the class. And I wrote a screenplay called Outus. Do you want to know what it's about?
I do. I was just thinking, I don't know that you've ever told that part of...
So we had to write a screenplay as our final project. And I wrote a film noir set in the 50s. Detective story about these people all from this one unit during the Korean War. They come back to the United States and then they're being killed off. All these guys that were in the same unit in Korea together. And then there's these two detectives and they're trying to solve the crimes of who is killing off all of these people. And why? I had first developed the idea for this as a novel, but I could never really get it going. So then I decided to use the basic plot that I had for my screenplay. I'm scared to go back and read it now because it's probably terrible. Music is good, but drawing, useless.
I wish I had taken more drawing classes.
Shabby, you want to hear something really sad? When I was a kid, we had this spring... I don't know if you guys probably... Spring break is a time during the spring school period where you get like a week or two off from school. And during... You probably know, it's in popular culture. Or you may have it in your country, but the school I went to offered classes, and you could go to so that for people whose parents were working and couldn't have them at home during those weeks or whatever the reasons may be. And I was going to these classes. And you got to sign up for some. And one of them was how to draw superheroes. And I was so excited for this class. I was so excited. It was the one class I was looking forward to because I actually had to go for tutoring because I wasn't doing so good at math at the time. Because I didn't realize you could just teach yourself math out of the book. I was trying to listen to the teachers and they just weren't good at explaining it. And later I realized you just learn it out of the book and you're fine. But anyways, I was doing poorly at math, so I was getting tutoring. And that was my one fun class that I had, that I signed up for. And then nobody else signed up for it, how to draw superheroes, and it got canceled. So I never learned how to draw superheroes. Isn't that terrible?
It is.
So sad.
We had occasionally after-school enrichment type things that were similar to that you could sign up for. I signed up, there was one time I did an acting type something or another, and I remember putting on a little play after school one day. I think they did different fairy tales or something, but I think they did Sleeping Beauty was one. I think I was Sleeping Beauty.
So you just laid there?
Yep. I maybe had a line.
When I was a little kid, I used to get...
Shabby.
That's funny. Are you going to play My Heart Bleeds for you on the world's smallest violin, Lady Vixen? So when I was a little kid, I used to get all the main parts, like the main characters in all the plays, whenever I tried out for them. And they used to give them to me. I don't know why. Must have been awesome or something. Anyways, and then I tried out for a part, and it wasn't even the main part. It was like the villain, and I was so excited. It was perfect for me. And I didn't get it. In the play, the play was written for a boy, and they gave it to a girl who was the drama teacher's daughter, and I was so pissed, so mad that I never tried out for another play ever again.
That's sad.
It is sad, isn't it? Yes, my life is just wrought with examples of how I could have pursued the arts, and instead I was rebuffed. Didn't get to go take my superhero drawing class, and I never realized that I could go ask like my parents, "Hey, I'd like to learn how to draw." It never crossed my mind that I could say like, "Hey, I'd like to get some drawing lessons." Never even crossed my mind.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know.
Do you think if they asked they would have done it, or do you think it was...
I think it's possible, yeah. I think if I really showed an interest in it and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," they would have done it. But instead, I would just draw every once in a while. Shelby says, "You are going to be playing that violin for a long time today." Yes, this is just me commiserating about my horrible life of how terrible I was treated as a child by the arts. Now I'm making up for it by butchering the arts. Speaking of butchering the arts, as Lady Vixen takes a small break.
Maybe.
Possibly not. The baby appeared to be waking up. But he might be going back to sleep, perhaps. We shall see. We have a spy camera on him. I already promised it. So earlier I referenced a song called Star Trek the Motion Picture. And this is a song I made. And here it is. Yes, destroy him, Eric Calkins. T-Bear is a villain. He hurt me so bad. I love playing the music that I make because it scares everybody away. It's possible that I've done more damage to the arts than they ever did to me. But that's for other people to judge. Shabby, I made this song way before I met Lady Vixen, so now when I write songs, I make sure to get Lady Vixen's actual musical talent involved in it. We've written some songs together. It's fun, but we don't always have time to do it. So, we won't listen to that whole thing. My idea was to make a concept album of songs about every Star Trek film, but I only got through Star Trek 2, so my attention sometimes diverts from one thing to the next really quickly. Yes, yes. It is nerdy. It is very nerdy. but I never finished it. I should go back now that I have access to someone who actually can compose beautiful music and play it. That can play multiple instruments, and we have multiple instruments that she can play.
Yeah, more or less.
More or less, she said. Do you or do you not play multiple musical instruments better than the average person that plays those instruments? The average person.
Yes, because I guess you would say the average person probably can't play it at all.
No, I'm saying that actually plays the instrument.
That actually plays the instrument?
Yeah, you play piano better than the average person who can plunk away at the piano, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to be humble. And
I will say this. Piano, I have some skills in piano, yes. They're not great, but yes, all right, I'll give you that.
Yes. Let's see. We actually have a song on here that Lady Vixen recorded. I did a poor job of the actual recording of it, so
the quality's not the greatest.
The quality of it's not the greatest in terms of recording, but
actually, I think I did the recording of it.
Shh, I was taking the blame. I was trying to give you an out.
I'm okay admitting it. The sad thing is, this was totally me just messing around.
Yeah.
And so, like, we've talked about re-recording it, but I don't know that I can
recreate it. I think nowadays you'd probably try to figure out a part of it on the mandolin as well. So
yeah.
Because you did pizzicato and then two different...
There's actually also, there is a bass track on there.
Yeah. So you did the bass, and then two violin tracks and then pizzicato as well.
Yeah. So there's like 4 different tracks.
Reminds him a bit of Ashokon Farewell. Should we look it up?
It does.
You're familiar with this piece?
Yes. You are familiar with it too.
I'm familiar with it too? I've heard it.
You've heard it.
You uncultured swine. Look, I'm Picasso. What's that from? When I was a kid, I could quote the entire Toy Story screenplay.
You can skip that ad.
Word for word. Do you know that? Mm-hmm. I could just sit down and say it verbatim. I'd seen it so many times, and my memory is like that. Eric Hawkins, we're probably gonna get. So that's a bit of that music. I realized, oh wait, we didn't record. That's not us. We didn't make that one. I can't play that.
But did you recognize it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shabby says, "You guys are very wholesome." Why, thank you, Shabby. Eric Hawkins says, "Lol, I have part of the sheet music to Hashokan Farewell on my back, about a quarter of my back." That is pretty cool. He also has that. You don't know, but Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe. You heard of him?
Yes.
And Storm Shadow as well. They have this tattoo on their arm. When I was a kid, I wanted that tattoo. It was the first tattoo I ever thought, like, man, I want to get that when I grow up. I'm going to get this tattoo just like Snake Eyes. Well, Eric Hawkins actually has that tattoo. The bold individual that he is.
That's cool.
Yeah. I have a whole sleeve planned out.
He does.
I do. I just haven't neither the time nor money to go get it. But it's going to start out up on my shoulder with Space, the Final Frontier. And it's going to have the Starship Enterprise on it. And then it's going to go down. And as it goes down the arm, So, you know, you've got the Starship Enterprise, the cells. You know, it's got nebulas and such. They can't really see this because it's too light.
You sketch very lightly.
Oh well, sorry. And then as it goes down, it goes to daytime, and then it's going to have Sleeping Beauty's castle there. Because my favorite Disney film is Sleeping Beauty. Because the artwork is legitimate. And then it'll go down the arm, and then there's going to be various characters and stuff as it gets away from Sleeping Beauty's castle. Eric Hawkins says, the symbol of the Irishikagi ninja clan. Shh, we are a secret. Shabby says I should put some vestry art there as well. I'll have to add vestry art. We'll have the dude from vestry. We'll have Shabby's little insert character popping out from behind the castle with a bloody axe. Just kidding, it's not a self-insert character. But it does kind of look like Shabby. So all my characters are skinny and weak. So I can have a good reference for them. What's your favorite Disney film, Lady Vixen?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. I think a lot of females your age, their favorite Disney films are either The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast. Whereas when I was a young boy, my favorite Disney film was The Lion King. And then when I was about 13 or 14, I saw Sleeping Beauty for the first time. And it just like absolutely changed my life in terms of my appreciation for art and my recognition of art and movies and design and beautiful.
See, for me, Beauty and the Beast actually has to do with a lot of it is the artwork as well, and the music in it. The opening scene of Beauty and the Beast I've always found very striking, and with the music that's used in it as well is just awesome. So that, and I've always liked the character of Belle.
Because she's nerdy like you.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, Shabby. They are wholesome. Much more than Booster. Shabby. All likenesses are purely coincidental. That's not my fault, though. That's on Booster. True that. We are wholesome. My mom watches this show. I can't not, you know. I say some crude stuff every once in a while, but within reason. And it has to be a good joke. Like a clever joke.
Are we still considered wholesome if we're talking about boob windows at the beginning?
Yes, because we talked about them in a wholesome way. We weren't like salaciously saying like, oh, look at this boob window. That was a really poor Beavis and Butthead impression, but it works. It works. We knew what I was going for.
Yes, that is true. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast. I think it was also one of my favorites because it's one we didn't own.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh, RLY.
Nope.
I didn't own it either.
Either a relative had it and we borrowed it. That's probably what it was, because I don't think we checked it out from the library that many times. However, I did find there was a recording CD of the music to Beauty and the Beast. But it wasn't just like a soundtrack with the highlights. There was, because I remember looking at the insert jacket, and it had dialogue and stuff written out. It was a 2-disc CD thing. And I did check that out from the library more than once, because I liked it that much.
That's pretty impressive. This is the only booster I care about. Booster Gold. So when I was a kid, we owned very few Disney films. The only animated Disney films we had were The Lion King.
Didn't have that.
It was The Lion King, really. And then we had Toy Story 1 and 2. I'm trying to remember if we had any others like when I was little. I got Space Jam for my birthday, but that's not a Disney film.
We had more than you.
I know you did. I'm trying to think. That might be it. I can't think of another one we had.
We always got a movie every year for Christmas.
Yeah,
and so
look
I
who's
think a lot of
bragging.
those were probably Christmas movies.
Yeah. Well, I remember the year that I got Toy Story. I got Toy Story and The Lion King for Christmas, and I was like, oh, I was so happy. I saw The Lion King. I saw both of those in the theater. We didn't go to the movie theater very often, but we went to those because they were such a huge cultural thing.
We've talked about that. That was the same with us.
Yeah. Like, we didn't go to the movie theater, but that was huge deal. So we went to see that. And The Lion King is the first movie I can pinpoint going to the theater for. But I knew I went to the theater many times before that because my dad took us to see The Lion King. And I remember thinking, oh, Dad's taking us. We're not going to get any popcorn or any treats. But because I knew, like, if my mom took us, we'd get popcorn and treats. But if my dad took us, we weren't going to get them. So obviously I had gone to the movies with both of them individually enough times to realize that that was the case. But I don't know what those movies would have been.
The only times I went to the movies, I think it was everybody. I don't think I ever went to the movies with just one parent. I did go one time with my grandmother. And we went and saw Fantasia in the theater. It was like a re-release special showing or something. And my grandmother took us. And I remember being kind of weirded out at the end.
Of what?
Fantasia.
Fantasia. Yeah. I saw Fantasia for the first time. I've seen parts of it, but I saw the whole thing for the first time at my friend Chris Pena at his house. Old Chris Pena.
He's officially up.
My mom claims that she took us to see Song of the South in the theater. Did you know that?
Yes.
But I have no proof that it was actually re-released during my lifetime in the theater. So it's possible, but not probable.
Maybe not. He keeps tricking us.
Oh, so bright. So bright. Have you ever seen Song of the South, Lady Vixen?
Yes, I have.
God, you racist. What a terrible racist you must be. That movie's racist, I heard. What do you think? Is it racist?
No.
You don't think it's racist?
No.
It must be racist then. It's not racist, by the way. It's just a movie. It's kind of unfortunate that it has this reputation. If it wasn't made by Disney, it would have been re-released already, and no one would think anything of it. But because Disney has that reputation of being so milquetoast, they can't even have anything that dared, well, at the time, that initially wasn't released. They couldn't have anything that was anywhere close to controversial. What's a Disney film that you've seen that's weird, that you think was a weird movie?
What's it called? Is it Black Cauldron?
Black Cauldron, yeah, sure. It's a weird one.
That was weird.
What was weird about it?
I remember it being like disconnect.
Yeah, it's because Jeffrey Katzenberg went in there and like cut out a bunch of stuff because it was made when it was started, at least when Ron Miller, who was the son-in-law of Walt Disney, was in charge of the studio, and then he got ousted, and Jeffrey Katzenberg and Michael Eisner came in. And Katzenberg went in there and he's like, "This is way too dark and weird." And he edited it. He cut out a bunch of stuff that makes it even worse than it would have been otherwise.
So yeah, that one.
What about the black hole?
I haven't seen that.
Or the... Yeah, that's what it's called, black hole. Really? I thought we watched it together.
Did we?
Thought so.
What's the premise of it?
They're in space. There's like these little robots.
If we watched it
It's got Ernest Borgnine in it. How could you forget Ernest Borgnine?
If we watched it together, it was probably something where I wasn't actually paying attention.
Wow. Well, we watched Something Wicked This Way Comes recently. What did you think of that?
I liked that one. That was different.
It was different.
It was different. It did not have that typical Disney vibe to it.
So that's the thing about the Ron Miller era of Disney, was he was trying to branch out and he was doing different things. And they really took a step back in terms of their live action films once Eisner and Katzenberg came in.
Yeah, I liked that one. But had you shown it to me and said, "Who would you guess made this?" I would not have guessed Disney.
It's an adaptation of Ray Bradbury's book, Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is a great title and is a quote from what famous work of art, Lady Vixen?
I don't remember. I have a guess.
You have a guess? What?
I don't want to say.
You don't want to say? Who made that work of art?
I don't want to.
You don't want to say?
I don't want to.
Whisper in my ear.
Is that...
Oh, Lady Vixen, you should have more confidence in your answers. All right, so who do you think made it?
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
You threw me off by when you said art.
See, I didn't want to just give it away by saying, "Oh, what play is this from?"
It's Hamlet.
It's not from Hamlet this time.
Oh.
Nope, not from Hamlet this time. Most quotes are that are things. This one
is it from?
This one is from Macbeth.
Haven't read that either.
Macbeth. You know, Macbeth, turn, hellhound, turn. Right? No man born of woman can defeat Macbeth. You know that, right? But Macduff from his mother's womb was untimely ripped. That's actually, I messed up the quote. It's like, it doesn't matter. Macbeth was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. Yeah, she had a cesarean, so he wasn't born in the traditional sense. So then Macbeth says, "Lay on, Macduff." Macduff was from his... And then, of course, they fight and Macbeth dies. You actually have seen Macbeth, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah. Your niece was in it.
I didn't see that.
You didn't?
No, that was one... I don't remember.
Oh, you were at that women's retreat thing.
Yeah, you went and saw that without me.
Sucks. It was good. For a play with little kids in it. I don't know which I like better, Macbeth or Hamlet.
I've seen quite a few Shakespeare's plays live.
Yeah. Which ones have you seen live?
I saw Taming of the Shrew. I think I saw Richard III. Midsummer Night's Dream. There's probably another one in there that I missed. King Lear, maybe?
Wow, not the popular ones, too. That's interesting. I've seen none of those ones live.
So I took Shakespeare.
Actually, I've seen A Midsummer Night's Dream.
I took Shakespeare in high school.
You had a class on Shakespeare in high school?
Yep. For English class. For elective class. And so my teacher had either tickets or would tell us about plays that were showing, so a friend and I would frequently go to them when we could. It was fun.
Shabby asks what a women's retreat is.
It is a getaway with women, and usually there are activities that you would think typical to women.
Like arts and crafts?
Arts and crafts are involved, and gathering around and having heart-to-hearts.
Heart-to-heart conversations about emotions, feelings.
Yes.
Not the kind of thing that you usually go to, is basically what it boils down to.
Yes.
You'd rather be out shooting guns. Shooting guns and
yes.
Talking about comic books and nerdy stuff. Shabby says that sounds like a good time. I should get on one of those. Yeah.
There was fun aspects. I did enjoy going to them, but it's
not your typical thing.
Not my typical scene. You would always get together with the guys and tell me like the things that you're doing. I was like, yeah, I want to be there.
Yeah, I want to do that. I wanna sit around and.
Shabby says, as long as it has s'mores, I'm in.
S'mores are good.
S'mores are they're decent.
Decent. We went. So
that might be an unpopular opinion that in some ways I think s'mores are overrated.
Wow. Way to just kill our stream. Everyone's gonna bail now. Lady Vixen hates s'mores.
Ooh, Shabby says I have never had s'mores.
What? You don't have... I mean, do you not have the ingredients for s'mores? Like graham crackers and chocolate bars and marshmallows? I was going to ask, but then I was like, oh, well, he referenced them, so they must have them there. I was actually going to ask, like, oh, do they have them there?
He says, we don't have them here, yeah.
Wow.
I will say, that's kind of sad.
I mean, they are... S'mores are good, but they're only good, like... They're best when you go camping. Like, you should be camping when you have them.
Well, and that's the thing, is I've never done proper camping that I remember. Yeah. This is my thing with s'mores. And from what I've heard, is chocolate bars used to be thinner or something, or they melt better, but I never care for the fact that the chocolate does not usually get melty. So, like, you've got this yummy, gooey strawberry.
Strawberry? What kind of s'mores are you making?
Marshmallow. I'm not sure where that came from. Marshmallow. And you got the graham cracker. And then you bite into this and you crunch into the chocolate. It just doesn't work for me. I've made faux s'mores in a microwave.
So we went the other day to this gelato place, and they have delicious gelato. And they had a s'more flavored gelato, and it legitimately...
And it wasn't s'more. It was toasted marshmallow.
Oh, it's toasted marshmallow, whatever. But it legitimately tasted like toasted marshmallow.
You could taste the burnt marshmallow in this gelato.
Yeah, like you could... Which, I mean... smoky flavor of like a good marshmallow. Shabby's never had Twinkies. What's gelato? It's a fancy name for like ice cream. It's an Italian, basically Italian ice cream, I guess.
It has to do with the way it's made. I looked it up one time, but I don't remember.
Twinkies are overrated. You're not missing out. They're
disgusting.
Lady Vixen says they're disgusting. I wouldn't go that far. They basically taste like, I don't know. It's not very good sugary bread with a barely flavored vanilla-y cream inside. Hard to explain what a Twinkie. Like, they just don't. They're not. I think the thing you need to know about Americans and their palates is like, you're used to eating all this crappy stuff, and so everybody's like, Twinkies are so good, but they're really not. Like, once you become an adult, like if your tastes don't change, and you start like eating proper stuff like dark chocolate, then there's no hope for you. You're just gonna be stuck eating crappy milk chocolate your entire life and things like Twinkies.
Shabby asks, what's Coca-Cola like?
Nah, now he's just fooling. Now Shabby's just fooling with us. He's just trolling us. Way to troll, Shabby. You can't fool me.
What were we talking about before we got off on the s'mores tangent?
Women's retreats.
Oh, yes, that's right.
What is a treat that you guys like there? Which I believe is Czechoslovakia. Is that a place? Czech Republic? I don't know. Something like that.
My home country, sort of.
Sort of. You've never even been there.
I know.
It's like me saying, my home of Ireland, my home of Germany, of the German people.
That is where my family is from, though.
It's true. Well, so I've been told. I don't know for a fact. I wasn't there when they immigrated. What was I saying? What's a special treat that you guys have there that you don't think people would like somewhere else?
He says sausage, and LOL, I don't know. We have like cookies called discos.
Discos? What's a disco? Describe it for me. In great detail. How do I make a disco? It's like a wagon wheel? That's what they call them. That's what they call moon pie type. Do you actually call them? Well, I mean, it's a different language. In England, they call them biscuits. They call cookies biscuits, like weirdos.
It looks like Oreo, but the filling is chocolate and top is tasteless.
Interesting. Did you know that Oreo is actually a ripoff of a cookie called Hydrox? Did you know that, Lady Vixen?
I did know that.
Yeah, it's not the original one like that. So you don't have anything like Ludafisk or something like that?
Shabby says never heard of it.
What?
He also says something I'd call them, but I have no idea.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh, that's your home country, though. Feel like I'm gonna get hit. We got donuts like a couple years ago here. Donuts make me go nuts. as they say. The thing about the United States is, within reason, you can find just about any kind of food you want from around the world.
That's true.
I remember when I was a kid, there was this trend with these lollipops that had scorpions in them and other bugs. Do you remember those?
Yep.
Did you ever have one?
Nope.
Me either. Because I didn't have any money.
I think I remember somebody saying they were like salty.
There's also like, because where we live, a lot of Mexican candy that's like Lucas and stuff, and they're just like, they're not sweet at all. They're just like,
here, let me put the thing of salt in my mouth.
Yeah.
With a weird aftertaste.
There's the ones that have like the Lucas on the outside of like a lollipop, and then that is sweet, but I always just scraped off the coating and just had the lollipop. It's funny, we're talking about where we're from. In some ways, I'm more from Mexico than I am from somewhere like Ireland or Scotland or Germany or something, in terms of the culture that I grew up around.
That is interesting to think.
Well, especially for me, you know, my mom speaks Spanish. My cousins are half. Yeah, I guess you could say that, Shabby. You could say that you're from the Czech Republic more than you're from the United States. Alright, now it's time to vote. Which of these three faces do we like the best? Do we like face A, face B, or face C? Type it in the chat. Vote in the chat.
Should we do a countdown?
We've got 25 seconds till this message explodes. Face A looks like Tintin. True that. Although, to be honest, I've never actually... Don't tell anyone, Shabby. You're sworn to secrecy. I intend to remedy this, but I've never actually read a whole Tintin comic. But I am influenced by the art. And C.C. Beck art, who also had the style. What about Phase B? Does Fly Fox look like Tintin? Certainly possible. Certainly possible. I mean, it's not like there's other videos on this channel with my face on them, or such a thing could be verified. Phase B looks like Scared Elvis. Yeah, see that? Scared Elvis. This poor woman, I think she's got some sort of affliction. I don't want to make any judgments. You know, I've been trying to be nicer about how I describe people, but I think she might have some sort of affliction. Something going on. She didn't seem quite all there. Since there's other people actually, supposedly 5 people watching this, it's possible that one of these nincompoops watching it hasn't actually backed Vestry. So there's the link to Vestry, which I think I have. Nope, I was wrong. I thought I got a referral for Vestry. Maybe somebody just told me they bought it because I said something about it. I thought I had one.
Yes, who was it? Was it P Money?
Yeah.
Said in the chat that he was going to do it.
Yeah, P Money was gonna back it because I was talking about it. That's what it was. But he didn't actually click through my link. But that counts towards me referring. I wonder if there's anybody that has backed Titan that didn't back through one of my links, but just because of how many times on Drawn and Quartered I said back Titan. Do you think there is? I hope so. Yeah, Vestry looks pretty cool, and what I like about Vestry is it is a fantasy world and a comic book, and that probably has to do a lot with the fact that, I don't know, it's possible that that is influenced by the European comics, but I suppose Shabby could tell us more about that, like if he's actually influenced by more European comics where you get a variety instead of just a bunch of superhero books or, oh, this person's got superpowers type of thing. It seems so prevalent over here, but I've been wanting to read a good fantasy comic book for a while.
I think I remember you told me a little bit about the premise, and it did sound really interesting.
He's throwing some Czech folklore. That'll be cool. That'll give it a nice spice for us Americans who aren't familiar with that. It's always neat to see fantasy stories that actually put a little bit of that stuff in there when the creators are actually European. Because most of us unless we like do in-depth study of those cultures, most of the people writing fantasy over here are just gonna base it off some sort of general Anglo-Saxon, Norman, Frankish stuff and not put any of the Germanic or Eastern European folklores in there. The peak of Czech people was in medieval period, so we are quite proud of our knights. That's cool. That's cool. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I hope it does well. I hope they get to 100. The 100 backers. They've done well so far. What is it at? Let's see. 82 backers with 7 days left. Could happen. Just do a couple of nice streams there. Hopefully get some people sharing it out. Have you guys gotten a lot of backers since being on Doug to Naples channel, or is that really, have you seen any kind of upticks in backers? At one point, the Czechs owned half of the Europe.
That's pretty cool. I want to go there someday.
To the Czech Republic?
Mm-hmm.
I will go home to my country. Sure.
Chevy says few, but not a bunch.
Few, but not a bunch. Yeah, that's what it seems to be like. I don't know how. I think it's good to go in these because you do get people that might not have backed it otherwise. But I feel like most of the streams that I've gone on and they said, oh, go back, or, go subscribe to Fly Fox Pro's channel. I never get any new subscribers from that, hardly. Except for Dee Willingham. When Dee Willingham shouted me out on her channel, I got a ton. And then that led to other people, to following other people from her stream. And then they would say, hey, you should follow him. Or you know, they had me on their show, and then I got a bunch of subscribers, and that's where like I got this huge jump up in subscribers a few months ago. It's all from that, either directly or indirectly from Dee Dee. So she does mostly craft streams and painting streams and stuff like that. Her audience is mostly middle-aged women. So I don't know if that's really the audience you're going for, but it couldn't hurt to go on there to at least get some different eyes on your product and maybe sell it. I mean, at least go to her stream and say hello. And then if she sees you in the chat, she might say, oh, I know these guys there, so-and-so. Like, you know, Sharon Marlowe? She's one of those craft streamers. Dee Dee's a great artist. She's like a great painter and stuff. She doesn't really have any desire to do anything sequential art based, but I think that somebody should, at some point, one of these people making a comic book should get her to do a cover, because it could be really cool and different to have an artist who doesn't do comic book stuff making a cover. Isn't in that realm. They can look pretty cool. Anyways, it is now midnight, just about, here in the land of Oz. So we should probably go to sleep. What do you think, Lady Vixen?
I think so.
First, I'm going to draw eyes on this guy.
Shabby says we are getting someone really cool for our Kickstarter cover.
Awesome. My commissions are always open, but I was going to make a joke, like, so Pickles, the writer of Vestry, he had a tweet up, something about a cover artist, and I was going to make a joke like, I didn't know we were announcing that I was on the project already, but then he deleted it. And so I didn't get to make the joke. And then I just missed my second opportunity to make that joke.
Shabby says I made him delete it. It was too soon.
Ruining my joke telling abilities. But I get it. Yeah, I get that. I think sometimes people, they're just too excited. They want to get stuff out there instead of letting things brew for a while. Can't be impatient. Alrighty, thank you everybody that watched. It's been a real fun time. Thank you, Shabby, for keeping us company. Eric Hawkins was here. Who else was here? Lady Vixen. Matthew D. Reese. Ray Thulu. General Grudge right at the beginning. P Money was probably here, but he didn't say anything. Maybe he was just lurking. That happens a lot. Follow me on Instagram. I have a webtoon. One's called Peter the Problematic Person. Free comics, people. And I am working on a new entry in Peter the Problematic Person. So if you were to follow it today, hopefully this week you'd have a new entry in that story. One that's going to be a little bit longer and a little bit more story development. Then there's also a new one that I just started this morning. And it's an adaptation of George Bernard Shaw's classic play Pygmalion. I'm gonna link these in the chat because everybody's interested in my adaptation of Pygmalion. It's called I entitled it The Flower Girl, just in case there were people who might actually click on it. Because Pygmalion's kind of a weird name for some people. But I renamed it the Flower Girl. So hopefully I could trick people into clicking on it. And then this is Peter the Problematic Person. These are free comics. The ones I do quickly and take hardly any time on. But they're fun nonetheless. And they're actually really good. I can do a lot of experimentation on them in terms of storytelling and different different aspects of my layouts and such when I'm making the pages. So I like them for that reason. Alrighty, adios everyone. Thank you again. Enjoy this wonderful outro. Explosion! Fly Fox!